All right, let's go. I hope you had a lovely holiday season. This is the most basic thing to say about that, but it did happen very quickly. It's a very fast holiday season, at least for me. At the same time, it feels like so long since I've streamed. Sorry, another apology. Last week I didn't give any heads up that I wasn't going to be streaming, but I just, long story short, a couple days after Christmas there, I was just not really feeling it. There was other stuff going on. Sorry, the windscreen has cat hair all over it, which is kind of confusing to me because she doesn't really interact with the microphone all that much. Welcome. Welcome back. John, welcome back. Good to see you're here again. John Barton says, Happy New Year. Glitter, sure. Hope you had a wonderful, joy-filled holiday season. Well, thank you. Some of that, for sure. No, I think it was a good holiday season. It's really the lead-up more than anything else, right? I think the lead-up to the holidays is very exciting. And that's when I can, at least for myself, that's when I can really just enjoy it. Enjoy the vibes. As opposed to, like, Christmas Day or, you know, New Year's Eve, stuff like that. It always feels like there's a ton of pressure for that to be like a really special day or experience or something, and I don't think it tends to live up to that too much. But no, it's been good. It's been good. I also did have some significant time off from 2 of my jobs at least. So yeah, probably squandered most of that time. I did get a few things done here and there. I did manage to see The Boy and the Heron again in the theater, hence the second video there, published, was that yesterday, this morning? I don't remember. But yeah, to you as well, thank you so much for coming back around to the stream. And what we're going to be doing today in a little bit is just trying to get a sense for the projects that we care about for 2024. Specifically, I'm thinking of animated stuff. It almost seemed like too much to also try to handle video games. In general, it's really difficult to try to talk about animation and video games in the exact same stream or video, whatever. So I tend to stay away from it. So it'll probably just be animated projects today that we're going to talk about. And then if we feel like talking about, you know, video games or other live action movies and things that are releasing next year that are also exciting, that's totally fine. More than happy to chat about that stuff as well. But yeah, as always, I'll just kind of flip through some of the news items that we get here from Cartoon Brew. Basically my one and only source for animation news, at least at the moment. And then I'll move on to, trying to throw together a real list of upcoming projects that are noteworthy for myself or for anybody, you know, watching who feels like they want to mention it. And at least so far, I'll say at the top, I don't think I have a very good sense of which, of what is coming out next year. I have looked a little bit, of course, before the stream. There are a couple things that caught my eye already, but in general, I haven't had a huge sense of what is supposed to release next year. I don't know what the big, well, I guess Inside Out 2. I was going to say I don't really know the big Disney Pixar projects for next year, but I do know about the next Inside Out movie. Other than that, not too much. So it'll be kind of exciting to dig in a little bit and get the word from different sites, different corners of the internet about upcoming releases, and see whether they're worth checking out down the line. Always room for late editions too. There's always room for, you know, people just saying, hey, this is a thing you might not have heard of, but it's great, it's worth checking out. That's helpful too, but just definitely not as common. So there we have it. John says, concerning the topic of this video, there are some projects I wanted to bring to your attention, but I'll wait until you're done with the Brew article. No, that's cool. Yeah, well, how about this? Honestly, I haven't seen a ton of, like, hard-hitting news here that we need to chat about too much. And especially this time of year, the site seems to be not flooded, but there's a lot of stuff that's just like, hey, we talked to the lead animator or director behind films that are nominated or qualify for being nominated for Oscars stuff. It is interesting in its own right, but like, it's not necessarily news stuff, or even this. Like, they're just talking about that Pluto adaptation on Netflix. Like, okay, great. We've known about that for a while. It's been out for a while now. I'm good to go. In memoriam stuff is a little too dire, I think, for today's stream. Issa, welcome back. It's been a while. Issa says, hey, cats. If you're referring to all of us as cats, then I'm cool with that. I don't think I have a cat on the screen today, at least not so far. Yeah, honestly, do you want to look at this real quick? 10 standout animated series that define 2023. Let's see what we got. Fiona and Cake, which I still haven't watched, to my great shame. Blue Eye Samurai did get plenty of hype after release. Does that count as hype? Gremlins, did that release? Did not know that ever even released, honestly. But then again, I don't have Mac, so that would maybe explain that. Kizazi Moto? Haven't heard of that. Okay, cool. Moon Girl, and it sort of seems aimed at children, but okay. Similar, I guess, for My Dad the Bounty Hunter. Scavenger's Reign. Wow, I haven't heard of most of this. I did watch a little bit of Scott Pilgrim, of course. I think I talked about that on previous streams, so we don't need to do too much of that. Shape Island. Apple TV Plus. Wow. Yeah, great look. Very cool look. Unicorn Warriors Eternal. This was a Gendy project. I had only heard of the upcoming Gendy project, Fixed, which we will probably talk about today. This is something, it only came up more recently. Somebody just mentioned Gendy did some sort of fantasy related thing. But that was like just last week. I heard about that in someone else's stream. That's all I had. Okay, nice, I guess, that I feel like Amazing Digital Circus well, it's not a full series, of course, but I feel like it absolutely deserves to be not an honorable mention, you know, but like that was a huge deal for just the landscape of animation in 2023. So whatever. There's that, but yeah, not too much other news. Head of Warner Animation says he's not big on AI stuff. Squeenix says we love AI and want to use it all the time in our game development. So there you go. But yeah, it's kind of slow around the holiday. I don't think there are too many new things here that we really do. Of course, also the not patent, but the copyright expiring for Steamboat Willie. I think there's some confusion around that. As far as I know, it's absolutely not the character of Mickey Mouse that is public domain, but just that particular short. It seems like everybody's just acting like Mickey himself is public domain. If I'm incorrect on that, let me know, but I'm pretty sure it's just that short. So there has been a renewed interest in like really insane adaptations or depictions of Mickey Mouse. So yeah, it's sort of interesting. Sorry, I got a lot of chat to catch up on here. Sorry. I was looking away. I have one of these awful energy drinks again. Hopefully it'll keep me going for a while. Goose says, hello, how are y'all? Hey, Goose, welcome back. Thanks for being here again. Issa says, I'm happy. How about you, Gio? Oh, I'm very glad to hear that. That's great news. I don't know if I would just say I'm happy. It happens. There are times. No, right now I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be here with all of you folks. I'm looking forward to chatting about stuff and for people to let me know about things that I should keep my eyes on for the upcoming year. But yeah, great to see you here again, Issa. Welcome back. Ugo, welcome back. How's it going? Ugo says that Blue Eyes was very good. Yeah, that's all I've heard about it, basically. Rather than content, I just hear it's very good. It's absolutely worth watching. End of story. I don't know how long it is either, and it is Netflix, right? I told the story a couple streams back, I think, but I was considering getting my own Netflix account for real instead of, you know, mooching off friends and family and stuff, which you can't even really do anymore. And it's just so expensive at this point that I just laughed and walked away. So I would love to have another path back to Netflix, but my God, those prices are literally laughable. So there's that. John says, I watched Unicorn Warriors Eternal. It was okay. Really underwhelming. Oh, no. I'm sorry to hear that. I know very little about it. I just learned of its existence fairly recently, so I can't comment on that, but I am sorry to hear that it was disappointing. Yeah, with Gendy stuff, when you hear his name attached to a project, I think really, or I should just speak for myself, I just really expect crazy action stuff. I'm never that keen on the actual art direction of those projects, but just movement. Yeah, movement and how wild action scenes are handled tends to be great. So, I don't know. That's what I would look for in that series. I'm not usually that into the story of most of his series projects anyway. Samurai Jack, Primal, Dexter's Lab. Sorry, not big into that story either. Anyway, there we go. Issa says, I haven't watched Blue Eye Samurai yet. Yeah, maybe we should do a long time ago, we used to do sort of animation book club, you know, and try to watch a few episodes of something or a movie and talk about it the next time. So I don't know if that would be doable for everyone. But obviously, it's one of the notable entries for what is now last year. So maybe we should consider that. You guys can let me know how you feel about that. John says, Amid Amidi, an author at Brew, made a list of upcoming 2024 films a couple of months ago. He's been updating. Okay, cool. So is it different from... Yeah, it's got to be different from this one, right? Yeah, this is just streaming animation debuts. Okay, yeah, let me try to grab that in another tab. Because that... I do like their, lists of... What is the headline they give for that? Whoops. Let's see what we get. Let's search here. Oh, Pixar's Elio. Well, now I know about that one. Not getting it so far. Sorry, and I don't think you can put links in the chat, right? Oh, here we go. Oh, well, there's one from, at least it's listed as Jamie Lang as the author, but I mean, I'm sure it's the same thing, right? Animated movies calendar. This sounds good. And it was updated in late December. Cool. Okay. Well, that'll be another. We'll add it to the list here. Okay. All right. John says it is Mickey Mouse public domain. It's just it's the specific version of Mickey Mouse that comes. Okay, so you're clarifying that it is just related to Steamboat Willie in particular. It's not the entire. Yeah, no designs from Fantasia or anything afterwards. I see. So just that particular look or design of the character. That's okay. That makes sense to me. Ugo says you will have to use the character design of Steamboat. No white gloves, no voice. Those are the distinctions. Okay. Thank you for clarifying, Ugo. That's helpful. It's different. It is this one. Okay. So I do have it. It is this one. Okay. Cool. We'll leave that up. And then we have some other sites, and even just Wikipedia. This will be funny. It's just the Wikipedia one that has like stuff that doesn't even have confirmed release dates yet, and it's just everything A to Z that has been announced for 2024, at least initially. So that'll be our catch-all if there's anything at the very end that we don't feel like we've heard about yet. That could be a good way to go. Okay, well let's just get into it. So we're opening the floodgates. If anybody in the chat right now has things they want to mention, go for it. Just go right ahead. I can't do I probably won't be able to do like a deep dive look at every single one, and especially up front, I just want like some groupings. I just want a list that we can pull from and compare and all that stuff. So just as much as we can get. Staff for 2024. I'll just say like unsort. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Let's just get into it. Use these instead. Cable's in the way. Okay. Goose says, by the way, Happy New Year, Jay. Well, thank you so much, Goose. You as well. Happy New Year. Hope it was a good holiday season for you too. Yeah, I hope the New Year is getting off to a good start. I think it has been okay. So what is it, day 3? It has been okay over here so far. Actually, what I did for apparently 11 hours worth of some holiday time was I got bored with Pokemon Scarlet, so I picked up Blue again, and I've been playing it in this SP that I got off eBay. Was it even eBay? No, it was one of the other sites, but still, I never had an SP growing up. So that's how I prefer to play my Game Boy games now, and GBA, of course. Did a lot of that. I think I have 6 badges, 6 or 7 badges by now. Really not that different from Scarlet and Violet, if we're being honest. Okay, let's look. Hazbin Hotel premieres on January 19th on Prime Video. Did it jump around? I thought for sure that was going to be Max. Is that not correct? Okay, I might just be, yeah, I might just be completely wrong about that. Weird, especially, oh, and by the way, in case you need catching up, Prime is now adding ads across the board, and then you pay extra money to watch Prime Video without ads, so that's lovely. Just in time for this. Yeah, 2 seasons at the very least. And I mean, do I really need to say anything else about just my own thoughts on, you know, the series based on the pilot only, of course. We haven't gotten the full series. I'm really glad it exists. I'm really glad it finally actually got produced. It's been quite a while since that initial debut. And I'm sure it will do fantastically well relative to something that releases on Prime Video exclusively. So I wish them all the best. Based on what I had seen so far, it wasn't especially for me. It wasn't exactly my taste, but there's so much to like about it, and I really enjoy seeing people just being excited about the show, you know, and helping it become the big success that it has been so far before anything was actually completed, you know. So very cool. That's a great way to kick off the year. It's a pretty big release. And yeah, that's what, the 19th? Very soon. No time at all. A couple weeks. Okay, what is this? In the Know. Sorry, the desk chair's really. Stop motion comedy created by Zach Woods. He was that unlikable character on The Office. And then Mike Judge, who's great. We love Mike Judge. Peacock, oh yuck. Spoofing public radio and modern PC culture in equal parts, good lord. Okay. No trailer. Okay. Here's some cast members, most of whom I don't know. All right. Okay. Has anyone heard anything about this at all? It comes out relatively soon. And to not have a trailer, like what I said, the article's been updated, right? So to not have a trailer a few weeks out from release is really something. And it's from Shadow Machine. Well, Shadow Machine produced this, the actual animation. We love Shadow Machine, obviously. Yeah, very cool. But I don't know, it could be interesting. the value of this being stop motion as opposed to just, traditional animation or CG animation. I don't know. We'll have to see. If it's just people talking in rooms, then I don't necessarily get that value, but I have a hunch that maybe they want to do some crazier things with it. So John Barnes says, nope, haven't heard of this. Okay, well, now we've heard of it at least. Sorry, I should actually be adding stuff to the list. We absolutely need to add has been to the list. And then what is this one called? In the know. All right. Okay, what else we got here? Solo leveling, not something. It's anime. I have not heard of this. You're gonna have to tell me who is involved here. Okay, so some SAO people. Okay, I not a lot to go on. I definitely can't watch the trailer on the stream. That'll get tagged immediately. It's an anime. I don't know. I feel like in the current anime environment, just with the incredible amount of anime being released constantly and the number of people saying this is the one to watch, no, this is the one to watch, I feel like we needed more here. Even the premise here, 10 years after a mysterious gateway opens, connecting our real work with another dimension, more like something from a video game. Okay, we have explored this before. After the gate opens, people possessing superhuman powers called hunters are awakened and begin battling otherworldly monsters. Okay, and it's from a Korean, not manga, but manhwa. All right, video game themes. Like, I would need to see it, and I'm not allowed to see it on the stream. Ugo says this reminds me of that Right Way. What is this? The Right Way Cartoons is made from the Daily Wire. They'll have Ted Cruz in it. I don't know. Oh, is this another series that's called Right Way Cartoons, and it's like right-leaning stuff? Yeah, I'd have to hear more. I don't know. I haven't heard of that before. But interesting. Well, and like something to say here. I mean, obviously, I don't get the vibe specifically from the people involved, and Mike Judge in particular. Like, Mike Judge does not strike me as someone like who's he doesn't strike me as ultra conservative. And I don't think that the choice to, potentially mock like public radio stuff, moderate to left-leaning neoliberal types, I don't think that's I don't see it resulting in like ultra conservative messaging. In fact, there's a long history of sort of the left end of the political spectrum mocking itself quite a bit, which is totally justified, by the way. I think a lot of Portlandia kind of makes that case. Anyway, so, but at the same time, that's also a no-brainer approach for more conservative-leaning types, right? Unfortunately, or fortunately, most conservative satire tends to be like bad and not very entertaining. But let's not dwell on that too much. So yeah, I don't think this one's gonna. I don't think Solo Leveling, even the name is nothing memorable. I don't think it's even gonna make our list. Like, it's not even in our pool of selections here. So let's move on to the big calendar. Ugo says, like, Lady Ballers, they're getting mad over PC stuff. South Important GL clarifying I was referring to the Daily Wire cartoon not being important. Gotcha. Ugo says the people who get mad over PC will be the first to get mad over getting assaulted. Yeah, I mean, well, yes, I totally understand what you're saying, and I agree with that, Ugo, in a general sense. But without getting too far into it, there's a certain, I think if you're like very skilled at writing or comedy, there are positive ways or like successful ways that you can critique aspects of what is now unfortunately known as PC culture without, defaulting to like hate speech, you know, like without appealing to the people who hate PC culture because they just can't stand the idea of anyone not being the way that they are. It's a whole big thing. So I'm not getting like a ton of red flags. Like I'm not getting alarm bells from that project yet. We'll have to see. But like my gosh, Silicon Valley alone like is such successful satire, and is just so well pointed. I think it was speaking to the right people, and it was saying a lot of things that I happen to agree with, at least for the first season or two, which is as far as I watched. Anyway, so I have my fingers crossed that it'll be thoughtful, that it will be successful, but we'll see how it turns out. Kind of exciting, and definitely worth being on the list. Okay, so let's jump into the big calendar. Do we not have anything for January? I guess we talked about some January releases already, but it seems we're starting out with February. Okay, what do we got? Orion and the Dark. Written by Charlie Kaufman. My word. Okay. Okay. Orion is a ball of adolescent anxiety, completely consumed by irrational fears of bees, dogs, the ocean, cell phone waves, murderous gutter clowns, and even falling off of a cliff. Okay. He's afraid of the dark. The dark visits as a character, which immediately makes me think of Pajama Sam. Is it Pajama Sam 1? Is no need to... wait, oh no. No need to hide when it's dark outside? Sorry, I love that game. And I'm forgetting the title. But darkness is a character in that game, and I love it. Okay. Weird to have Charlie Kaufman attached to what seems to be a children's film? Film, yes? Yeah, I don't think it's a series. But cool, and it's a DreamWorks project. Okay. Coming out on Netflix February 2nd. Absolutely, makes a cut. Let's do that. Yeah. Very cool. Okay. John says this stream always lags. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not getting anything on my end. It says I haven't dropped any frames or anything. It says that I have a killer bitrate, so I apologize for that. We'll keep our fingers crossed. It runs smoothly. I was a putt-putt kid. Yep. Oh, don't worry. I played plenty of the putt-putt stuff as well. Okay. Orion and the Dark. Tiger's Apprentice up next. Previously slated for a theatrical release, Paramount recently shifted the film over to its streaming platform, Oh No. An adaptation of Lawrence Yep's book, a Chinese-American boy who discovers he is part of a long lineage of magical protectors known as the Guardians. Reunite the estranged Zodiac animal warriors to fight the evil forces threatening the world. Okay. All right. I'll put it on the list. I mean, Paramount Plus is sort of one of the streaming services I'm least likely to actually ever have or use. And when I have used it in the past, it's not especially great as a streaming platform. But okay. I do also think it's a little bit funny, like just how often animated projects that are trying to incorporate, you know, Chinese culture in some way, or even just characters going to China, they default to the Zodiac signs, and that's it. Like that's all they got. I'm not trying to. Obviously, that can be a great premise, but seeing it come up over and over is, you know, immediately makes me question it a little bit. This almost sounds like an Animorphs angle, though, right? Of like a special team of supernatural warriors, animal warriors. So it could be neat. I really, really wish we could watch the trailers on the stream, but it's just we're gonna get dinged immediately. But yeah, definitely added to the list. We'll sort this out a little bit later of which things are sort of most interesting to us. But for now, it's just it gets added. It gets added. Tiger's Apprentice was going to be a live action film, but it got canceled, and then it was going to be a theatrical release, but they pushed it to streaming. Very interesting. So I guess this has been on the docket for a long time. And I assume this book was very popular. I mean, that the popular books tend to be the ones that get adaptations to begin with. But thanks for the extra info there. That's interesting. Just cancel the live action outright. Even this image almost looks like a prop in a live action movie. So that's neat. Also, it makes me think of a Speak and Spell. No, not a Speak and Spell. What's the one? Is it that it has farm animals and has the spinning arrow? It lands on the animal and makes the animal sound. Whatever that one is. Looks like that. I don't know if that's what they're going for. Or like a game of Simon. Does anyone remember Simon? Okay, moving on. We're already into March, apparently. Kung Fu Panda 4. Well, it's on the list, isn't it? Sorry. Oh, my. I think I did see a trailer. Where did I see a trailer? Oh, when I went to see The Boy and the Heron for the second time, there is a trailer for the movie. Although I think I closed my eyes for most of it just because I wasn't into it. It looks visually, it looks perfectly fine. You know, as I've said with DreamWorks previously, the quality of the animation is always there. But the properties and the storylines are not always of too much interest to me. And yeah, when did Kung Fu Panda even premiere? Was that like late early 2000s at this point, like late aughts? And that's March 8th. There you go. And while a lot of DreamWorks stuff is going right to Netflix, no, this will be a theatrical release, it seems. That's what we got. But yeah, it's on the list. We'll get into it later, whether it's worth our time. But now we have the Garfield movie. Well, it made it into the thumbnail, so clearly we need to talk about the most important 2008. Wow, it was pretty close. Quite a long time ago. Garfield movie. Yeah, I mean, I do get the sense that already the internet wants this to be awful. It's one of those, right? Like, as soon as we saw the first teasers for the Emoji Movie back in the day, everybody wanted it to be trash, and they wanted to trash it immediately. Like, and I'm not saying that to conjure any kind of sympathy for the Garfield movie or the Emoji Movie or anything, but it's never a guarantee. We all thought the Mario movie was going to be bad, and it was, but a lot of people were sort of tricked themselves into thinking it was some amount of quality. I don't know how that happened, but and also Mark Dindal, as I've talked about previously, he's the animation director I like, and I think it's been quite a while since he's actually directed a feature. He's been involved with plenty of stuff, but I don't know if he's directed for quite a while. So there you have it, and that's out in late May. I've seen the initial trailer. I assume you have as well. And yeah, that's what we got. Same year as WALL-E. That's a good way to place it because I have a much better memory of what it was like when WALL-E came out, as opposed to a strong memory of the initial Kung Fu Panda release. In fact, I don't even... Did I see Kung Fu Panda in the theater? I'm guessing not. I definitely saw WALL-E in the theater, but anyway. Garfield movie, I'm not going to say makes a cut, but it is on the list, so we will continue to talk about it a little bit later on. What else we got? June. Inside Out 2. I mean, just obviously... It's just a guarantee, right? Pixar has guarantees for life, not in terms of actual quality, but like they will be discussed. It's a guarantee that we will talk about whatever the new Pixar movie is at the time. And yeah, Inside Out 2 is there. I don't know, like we really just did have that teaser, so I have no real sense for the quality of the movie. We know the angle they're going to take with this one. We know the direction they want. And there are so many fun things you can do with this premise and a lead character, or like also an environment who is going through adolescence. Tons of room. Huge amount of room for creativity and fun gags and stuff. and Pixar tends to be great at all of that. So I don't know. I won't say that I'm confident that I'll actually like it. I do think it will have a generally positive reception. Not going out on a limb there, I think. And that is June 14th. So in the classic Pixar style, they want it to be their big summer blockbuster deal, which sort of kind of happened with Elemental after the initial release. But I don't know. It has been quite a while. Yeah, 2015 was the first movie. Are people still interested? Will they want to check it out? Are younger viewers willing to check it out just because it's Pixar? I guess we will find out. There. Okay. John says, it's been said better elsewhere, but the Mario movie succeeded in being lower budget, fan service for gamers, and being the first family appropriate theatrical film in months at that time. Oh yeah, like I'm not, the sort of practical reasons for that movie's financial success is one thing, and it's not something I'm especially interested in, really. Like, I do understand how yet another Illumination movie yet again succeeded at making a bunch of money, because small children saw the commercials and laughed at the same jokes in the theater. Like, I get that. But I'm also just tired of, we don't need to talk about that movie anymore. it's I'm good. I made the video. The sequel will be of similar quality. And at the very least, I'm glad that the Zelda movie is going to be something different and will not have anything to do with Illumination. It is going to be live action, as far as I know, right? I don't expect that one to be good either, but I'm happy to move on. Ugo says, Mario is like fast food. I don't like it, but it's passable. Many only eat fast food due to other reasons in life. That's all they know is fast food. Yeah, again, I understand it, and I am not one to tell people not to watch something, and I would never want to make fun of people for liking a particular thing. I love plenty of stuff that's not especially lofty or well executed, whatever. Like I have tons of those movies from my childhood as well as now, and games and shows and stuff. So yeah, I'm not. It's just sort of a general symptom of Illumination's role in contemporary Hollywood animation, and I'm not a big fan of them in general and all that kind of stuff. So whatever, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. John says, it wasn't high on the first Inside Out, but I appreciate them going goofy with this new anxiety design, being goofy and not as humanoid like all the other female designs. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair take. The character design for anxiety is neat. It made me think of a troll doll immediately, actually. Do they have Bill Hader back, by the way, for Fear? I feel like in the trailer the voice sounded slightly different, but we only got like half a line of dialogue, so it's hard to tell. Unless you just look it up. Anyway, Inside Out 2, it's on the list. Probably going to go in the higher categories later on. Into July already, Despicable Me 4. Wow, talk about Illumination. Here they are. I did lose track at some point of mainline Despicable Me versus the Minions spin-off stuff, right? So I did lose track. I wasn't sure that we were on 4 already, but here we are. Kung Fu Panda 4 and Despicable Me 4, all at the same time. Yeah. But do people still care? Like, obviously the Minions movies, or that Minions sequel, went on to make plenty of money. But I've never really felt like the Despicable Me, the Gru character, or the children whose names I, of course, just completely forget. Like, are they really that appealing? The first movie's fun enough. They don't stand out to me as like franchise quality characters, I guess. That's just my impression, but I'm also not the target audience in the least. This is stuff for kids. you know, it's that's what they want it to. They want it to be for children. They want children to drag their parents to the movie. So yeah, it seems strange to me, but it is also at the same time, I guess, one of their most, well, the Minions are the most recognizable thing for Illumination. It's the logo at this point. I don't know. So I guess they felt compelled to continue this, but I'm not especially confident that it'll make a bunch of money. Transformers 1. Does anyone want to try to sell me on this one? Has anybody heard about this at all? And is it theatrical? Keegan-Michael Key, why? Why? For comedy relief robot? Okay. Left Pixar to, I feel like this is a little misleading. I feel like maybe, you know, he had other plans, but it's a funny way to put it, that he left Pixar to direct this movie. Okay. All right. I'm not a huge Transformers person. I'm not against, you know, Transformers in any way. It's, yeah, I get the appeal. I get the nostalgia angle, you know, for a lot of people. This screenshot seems to imply they're returning to a look, you know, more reminiscent of the 80s cartoon. Yeah, I've heard about it, but because I'm a weirdo who follows all the upcoming animated stuff, no, I mean, fair. Yeah, that's, you know, it's exactly what we're doing. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I would like to see footage. I don't know if a trailer exists. Not that I could watch it on the screen right now, but I guess, I don't know. Yeah, my interest is really tenuous here. I'd have to see some footage. I assume it's going to be cell look CG, or I'm hoping, you know. But I'd have to see a clip or something. Okay, Wild Robot sounds brand new to me. A feature adaptation appeared. It's an illustrated book. A robot designed for a futuristic urban world finds herself washed ashore on a deserted island. A tale of survival and discovery. Hatchet begins when she becomes the unexpected protector to an orphaned gosling. Okay. Together, they struggle to survive the harsh environment, but only succeed with the help of a close-knit group of misfit animals. Okay. Who become first friends, then family. Roz and company save the island from a robotic invasion by the manufacturer looking to bring her back to civilization by any means necessary. She becomes something much more than she was programmed to be, a wild robot. Okay. Okay. No trailer as of now. Thank you. Thanks, John, for letting us know. Hang on. Sorry, I'll get caught up on chat and then we can talk a little bit about this one. Ugo says, Gru was kind of funny when it came out. I remembered Steve Carell showed up on Ellen dressed up, but it's been, what, 10 years at least, right? It was fun. Came out. I don't think Carell will dress up on a talk show anymore. It's kind of a different vibe these days, and especially for Ellen, right? John says, been following this one. The author of Wild Robots, the book, is from my home state. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, this really took a turn. And for one thing, this is another DreamWorks project. First of all, wow, have they not had like 2 or 3 different projects so far on this list? I'm impressed at the scale, despite the fact they were making cutbacks a little while ago. It's a lot of stuff. This would seem to be a theatrical release. Not until September 20th, so we have quite a while to wait for that one. Weird release window too. It would sort of imply they're not especially confident about it. Although scheduling that, it's very complex, and it's not just about how much money they think it's going to make. But yeah, no, I am interested. There were just so many twists and turns with it. It almost seems like this, you know, summary was giving us a little bit too much. Although then again, it might be within the first 20 or 30 minutes. that we have the survival stuff and then robot invasion. I don't know. That seems like it would be most of the movie. Maybe not. Yeah, no, I am interested. And of course another angle to this being DreamWorks is that following Ruby Gillman, they at least certain people within the company seemed really, really down on original projects, or maybe that was outsiders speculating. I'd have to double check. But you can understand, regardless, how they would be more hesitant to put out a bunch of original projects. But I'm pretty sure they had that Kaufman project, right? Which, as far as I know, is also original. If it is an adaptation of a book, it's still an original film production, right? And then Wild Robot, yeah, again, based on a property, yes, but not an existing film or television property. Okay, so yeah, no, I don't know. Some of it sounds really, really corny. Any of the stuff with the animals sounds incredibly corny. Doesn't mean it will be. It all comes down to execution. And even this looks like concept art. If the movie does end up having like a really strong painted look, sign me up even more. Like that sounds great. But this really does just look like, here's some digital art. Here's an illustration. Some key art to market the thing. So I don't know, but yeah, I am interested for sure. There's a lot going on there. Ugo says, I think 2 of the DreamWorks will be going to streaming. Wild Robot looks good. Yeah, the Coffin project is going to Netflix, right? Then we have this, would appear to be theatrical release. And then do they have any of these other ones here? That's Sony. Oh, of course, yeah. Well, Kung Fu Panda is also theatrical. Unless they decided, unless there's another pandemic and they're like, nah, never mind. Cool. Okay, wow, we're already to December. Yes, this is an interesting one. We had heard something about this before. Yes? I'm not going to type all that out. I'm just going to... Wow, it's still long. There we go. War of the Rohirrim. Warner, New Line, of course. Gotcha. Right. Anime adaptation. Right. It's the universe. It's a prequel. Okay. Going into Helm's Deep stuff. All right. And Sola Entertainment, who I'm not familiar with. They're the studio, and once again, this is concept art. This is not. I do not think this is supposed to be representative, completely of the art direction of this movie or series. It's a movie, yes. Yeah. It's got to be. Okay. But anyway, yeah, anime Lord of the Rings, there's an immediate appeal there, of course. We love prequels. Is this one of the components of Lord of the Rings that Embracer Group owned? I don't remember how all that stuff shook out. I know there were a lot of transactions regarding the Tolkien properties and various aspects of the Tolkien properties. Either way, yeah, yes, I am interested. Yes, I was a big Lord of the Rings fan when those movies were coming out, and yeah, different take, lots of opportunities to have a different vibe going on here. What else can we say? Do we need to say any more on this one? Yeah, let's just move on. Mufasa. Well, it makes the list. Oh, okay. It is also very funny to me that they're so incredibly focused on brand recognition here, that despite the fact that Mufasa obviously has its own, like, we all know what Mufasa is. We know what property that is associated with. They still had to jam as a subtitle the title of the property itself that we also already know. Like, it's just they no risk here whatsoever, and that seems like a perfect indication of how this movie's going to turn out. I do not expect Risks. I do not expect creative directions. I'm sorry. I know that's a basic take here, following that sort of live action hybrid adaptation or remake of The Lion King. But yeah, I don't have high hopes at all. I doubt I'll be seeing it in the theater, but you better bet that's going to be theatrical release after the incredible success of that the remake, right? So yeah, I don't know. Does anyone else have thoughts they feel like sharing for Mufasa? And I assume this is another one where we don't have anything, right? Like we just don't have footage. I would assume it's way too early. This is, probably just pulled from one of the presentations, right? Um, and no way, right? There's no way James Earl Jones, like, there's absolutely no way. For one thing, he's just too old. I'm sorry. It's just his voice sounds different. Obviously, he could still do the role, but if it's supposed to be a prequel, which it is, it just doesn't work. You can't have Mufasa sounding 30 years older than he did later in the timeline. Yeah. Anyway, it's on the list. Okay. So Fixed, we were talking about the Gendy stuff earlier. This is another thing that he will be directing with New Line, which is sort of odd. And yes, it appears to be a theatrical release, right? So let's go ahead and add it. Not getting our hopes up, really. It's adult animation, adult comedy. Yeah. I don't know. Once again, I don't think we have footage to look at. And that's all we have. Wrap production in September. And it still doesn't have a release date. Wow. Seems odd. Seems a little bit strange. Okay, what else? In Your Dreams, we had heard about this. Yeah, I think we had heard about maybe in one of these other lists. World of Dreams, Sandman. Something about this soft look to the character designs is very unnerving to me. Not crazy about it. But yeah, we know so little. It's also a pet peeve of mine when titles for movies or shows are just like a phrase, like just a common saying. Not a big fan of that. John has a few things about Lord of the Rings. War of Rohirrim, New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers haven't owned the live-action film rights to produce any more Tolkien adaptations since the Lord of the Rings, Hobbit trilogies. So this animated film is a movie to ensure that Amazon, who did Rings of Power, would not be the only creators of major Tolkien-based content in the near future. Okay, so yeah, so it's a very weird division. I think it was Amazon has the rights to Silmarillion, right? So the deep lore of Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, Middle Earth, I should just say. But yeah, Lord of the Rings, it was treated as a separate entity, despite obviously being the same universe, the same connected storyline as everything else. Okay, In Your Dreams, just a slight mention. Yeah, but there's very little to go on. Sandy Cheeks movie, we did hear about this at some point, maybe on one of the streams. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously been a really rough go for some of the more recent SpongeBob projects. I'm just going to say the Sandy Cheeks movie. We really didn't need a double title for this one, I think. But yeah, and if with Sandy as the lead, you just assume that they will be going for get aspects of her backstory and stuff that it's fan servicey, I guess we could say. I don't know, but I have no read on whether that will be any good. Spellbound. What else we have here? Musical Alan Menken. Wow, okay. Okay. All right. Skydance. Okay. All right. Home. Remember that movie Home? The character designs here are making me think of that. It'll be on the list. I don't know. I haven't been a huge fan of some of the more recent Skydance stuff. That's all I got. That Christmas, let's leave out holiday movies for now. Thelma and the Unicorn. This is another one we heard about, right? I'll just add it, but yeah, we need to speed up here. And I will add this too. Man, yeah, there's a lot of stuff without release dates, huh? Whoops. Earth blew up. I'm leaving it there, by the way. I'm not gonna add a Looney Tunes movie again. Just like they have to have the name of the property. They have to have the brand recognition in the title. They're terrified of not having that there. Ultraman movie. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, it's not making the list. Okay. Okay. All right. Ugo says for the Star Wars show Ahsoka, still don't know how that's pronounced. They used an AI voice for Darth Vader. It was only for about 3 lines, maybe 30 words. It was mixed in with Hayden Christensen. Also, the family of Jones did give permission. Oh, great! Wow, good for them. Good for them to pick up that paycheck. Okay, all right. Let's really quick look at some other stuff here. Obviously, that was mostly films. We just talked about that. We talked about that. Doraemon. Sorry, I think we're moving on. Dragon Keeper. Hate that dragon design. Next. Garfield movie. Giants of La Mancha. Okay. Well, it's nice that we're getting stuff from not the US here, it would seem. Although I can't say that a lot of it is really... this child's face. Man, humans can look so bad in CG. And there's a great example. Harold and the Purple Crayon. I'm sorry, I don't know. Zoe Deschanel got cast in something. Okay, The Imaginary. Okay. In Your Dreams, the same screenshot as before. Set Out 2. Justice League, probably going to pass on it. Okay. Lord of the Rings. Marcel Pagnol. Oh, Shomei. Yeah, sorry. It is making the list. That's enough for me. Shomei is a favorite of mine. Okay. No Gundam. Mufasa. By the way, nothing here. no style. Nothing about the personality of the movie. I don't know. That's just rough. Okay, Orion in the Dark. Talked about it. Oh my god. Is this set to... Oh my gosh. This is set to release next year? Okay, I mean, I guess it's on the list. Sure. Okay. All right, moving on. And then this is just Wikipedia. This is just everything, everywhere. Something I was interested to see here. I think it's way down here towards the end. Where is it? Untitled Wallace and Gromit film has apparently been announced for this year. But the fact that it is a Wallace and Gromit film, which means stop motion, I would have to guess they're planning some sort of delay, or at the very least that this would be released, towards the latter half or the very end of 2024. It needs a release date. Yeah, I don't know. Unless everything's wrapped and they just haven't decided on a date yet. I don't get that sense though. Especially so relatively soon after that Chicken Run sequel, which I did watch, by the way. No, almost. I think I have 20 minutes left. But I did watch most of that, and I have some thoughts. But yeah, and some other stuff here that just may or may not actually release. Untitled Winnie the Pooh film. Okay. Untitled Watchmen film. Sure. There's just, it's a total toss-up whether it will release at all this year or whether it will even be completed. But yeah, I think we've caught a lot of the notable things, unless people want to feel free to add stuff, obviously. Coyote versus Acme, I guess, yeah, maybe I sort of mixed that up with the other Looney Tunes movie, but I'll add that too. That's one of the ones that got caught up in the weird, we don't want to release this spurt for Warner, right? Think? Still doesn't have a firm release date. John says, Spermageddon is one I want to take a look at, and it is here on the list. Okay, remember Animation Server I invited you to? Yep. Mutual from Norway worked on it from there. Oh, that's cool. He assures it is not what you think it is. Yeah, that title is really something. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's see if we can get any kind of info here. Well, very little. Adult computer animated musical comedy film. Okay. Sure. Teenage couple having sex for the first time. Simon the Seaman and his friends in a quest for the egg. Okay, well, be in the veins of Sausage Party. Road movie and epic adventure, much like Lord of the Rings. Okay. Okay. It's on the list. It is funny to hear, you know, that contact saying, no, it's actually not what you think. It sounds, the way it's being described here, oh, I'm relatively low budget too. The way it's being described makes it sound like it's exactly what I would think it is, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them approach it in a different kind of way, or to surprise me. But yeah, cool. And I forgot to look, does that have, no, still no firm release date, at least as far as this list is concerned. But there it is. Okay, so now, relatively quickly, because it has been, I guess, an hour of this, let's try to sort some of this stuff out. Let's try to split it up into vague categories of like, yes, we'll watch, and will probably be good. Oh no, I should stop doing that. We're gonna lose our list. We'll watch and we'll probably be good. How about begrudging watch? Probably will avoid. Those are okay, fine. I think that's fine. Vague categories. We don't want too many. I don't want this to drag on too long. I'm just gonna start throwing stuff around so you have a general sense of what I would really be into, you know, actually seeing. Okay. Also, let me make this a little bit larger. What's that? That's not too bad. Okay. Hazbin Hotel. I think goes here, even if it's not necessarily my taste. I'm fairly confident that the quality is there and that people will still be really excited about this, despite the fact that it has been such a long time since that initial pilot or whatever they're calling it. Almost forgot what In the Know was already. I'm worried. I'm guessing that goes in begrudging watch. Orion in the Dark, I am sort of confident in, even though it's aimed more at a younger audience. Obviously, I do love Charlie Kaufman's stuff. I do really like it. Yeah, so it might not appeal to me specifically, just as not being a member of the target audience, but the quality I hope is there. So fingers crossed. Not a guarantee, but I think I feel pretty positively about it. This is another test. It's just trying to remember what all of these actually are. The Tiger's Apprentice, that was the Animorphs one, right? With the Zodiac animals. I feel like that goes in begrudging watch, at least so far. Unless something tips me over the edge, unless I can be convinced that it's actually going to be just fantastic, I would need to see more. Kung Fu Panda 4 will probably avoid. Garfield movie, I think, is begrudging watch. That makes sense to me. Inside Out 2 will definitely watch, yeah, one way or the other. I don't know how long it'll take for it to come over to Disney Plus, but I will see that movie at some point. probably this year. Despicable Me 4, I'm sorry. I don't know. Unless it becomes the It movie of 2024, which I don't see happening, then I don't think I'll be checking it out, really. Transformers 1? You know what? It made its way up here. It's on the lower end for sure. But I'd love to see some footage. If it has an interesting look, I will give it a shot. That's fine by me. Wild Robot absolutely comes up here. Maybe at the very top of this list. I wasn't planning on doing them individual lists in each category, but let's go with it. LOTR, yeah. Yes, sure. Especially if they're hands-off. You know, if they just say to this anime studio, do what you want. Well, no, it has to be lore accurate, so that's the big thorn in their side, I guess. But in terms of the look and the execution of the animation, I am very excited for that to just be kind of crazy. Really hoping for that. Okay. Mufasa, especially late in the year, I'm probably going to avoid it. I had absolutely no interest in the live action remake. I am not confident about that one being good or interesting, at least so far. Fixed, unfortunately, I think goes here. I really like Gendy's, directing projects. He's done some great stuff. It just doesn't seem like my vibe, personally. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing I'm really into. I could be wrong. Again, strange that it wrapped back in September, supposedly. Don't have a date. So it might not even release this year. I guess we'll find out. In Your Dreams, so little to go on. I don't know. Maybe this just goes... Maybe this stays down here. Like NA category. Sandy Cheeks movie. Potentially a begrudging watch, I think. Spellbound, that's the Skydance one? I have, yeah, again, so little to go on, and it really doesn't seem like my thing. So that's another one that it fits very much next to Tiger's Apprentice. Elma the Unicorn, I'm forgetting who was involved. It was apparently based on some books from the person who wrote The Bad Guys, right? The character designs also just seemed very goofy. It just seemed like third-party Hollywood animation stuff. Yeah, I think it goes down here. Sorry, and I'm going to move Mufasa as well. So we have that way. I'm sort of kind of excited about the Looney Tunes stuff, although from what I've heard in initial reports, Coyote versus Acme is apparently the better one, or at least is interesting. Worth talking about. And I don't know, I'm also just fascinated by the idea of doing something genuinely interesting with the Looney Tunes after they have existed for so long and have been so abused by being trotted out for the Space Jam movies and stuff like that. I don't know. It would be fun to see a good Looney Tunes movie that's just on its own terms and not getting shoved into something else. The Chomei movie just rockets way up here. Love the Chomei movies, all of them that I've seen anyway. They're not always like the most... they're not fast-paced at all. And a lot of them don't even have dialogue, or they have very little dialogue. But visually, it's just a great look. Great look. He has great teams actually executing the animation, and it's just so different. It absolutely falls in the category of, the art house animation stuff, whereas a lot of this has been Hollywood today. I feel like we would maybe need a whole separate thing for the independent work. And I will say, Spermageddon, well, based on what you mentioned, John, I'm pretty hopeful. So I'll put it in here, especially it's a low-budget, relatively low-budget project. Yeah, very hopeful that it's neat and that it's not just, lowbrow stuff. Yeah, kind of Osmosis Jonesy, it would seem, as well. So, yeah. Spermageddon was one of the two things I wanted to mention. The other thing is this French series, Le Collège Noir. Cartoon Bird talked about it when it premiered at Cartoon Forum, which is a pitch festival in Europe worth looking into. Yeah, I remember seeing an article about the Pitch Fest, and I may have even seen this. Let me take a look real quick at Le College Noir. Sorry. Let's see what we got. No, I have not seen an image for this before. But it seems a little Gravity Fallsy or that area. What is it? What Paranormal Park? That's the vibe I'm getting just from some of these like screenshots and things. Okay, based on books as well, or like graphic novel stuff. Series. So it did get greenlit, right, for production? Yeah. Okay. Who got it? Toei Animation. Okay. And is it set to be a series or a movie? Produce series. Okay. Well, hang on. Let me edit here. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning. Awesome. Yeah, if you have more information on that, go for it. But it looks neat. Looks neat. I have a couple articles pulled up. It's currently airing in France. Oh, okay, so that's like it's going, it's happening. But yeah, as is the case, unfortunately, with a lot of not just European or world animation, but filmmaking or series in general, it can be really tricky for it to actually get distribution here in the U.S. G-Kids is one of the only major forces for bringing stuff over, although a lot of the time they focus on really high profile stuff. Ghibli, obviously, they have some of the Ghibli contracts, I guess, for US distribution. Neat. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, at least based on what I've seen so far, it seems very positive. I can't imagine this being a begrudging watch, unless it just tanked. But I don't know. I don't expect it to be bad. The only thing is, it just might not be my vibe, but that's, no fault of its own, right? The art looks really cool. Yeah, there's some screenshots here that look really neat. Awesome. Okay. And honestly, French animation as a whole tends to be something I like. Okay. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, I'm sorry. Yeah, I will probably avoid it. It's just, yeah, I've talked about the Sonic movies before. Yeah. No, thank you. Not for me. And I truly don't understand, even more so than the Mario movie, I truly do not understand why people connect. Like, it's just gotta be I like Sonic, right? It's gotta be. And again, that's okay. It's okay. It's fine. But, ooh, really not my thing. Really, I just do not get the appeal. And I hadn't even heard of I have not seen the hype yet for that third movie. So we're in the before times. I'm sure we'll get there as we get closer to the release date. But yeah, that's what we have so far. This is actually not too bad. I'm really glad that, even just for my own sake, that we kind of went through this exercise. Most of this stuff, or like, roughly half of this stuff I was not really aware of before we did the stream. And it's a good breakdown, I think. I think it's a very good breakdown of stuff I actually genuinely want to see and that I would potentially want to talk about. And then, predictable, obvious things from long-running series that I just don't happen to care about, or more generic Disney products. But yeah, no, very excited to hear about the Wild Robot. Yeah, that could go in so many different directions, and it could be great, it could be terrible, it could be cheesy, it could be heartfelt, a word that's very overused. But yeah, and even just Hazbin Hotel coming out so soon, I'm happy. It feels like we'll get to kick off 2024 with a very high profile release that so many people have been looking forward to for literally years and years now. That's great. Yeah. Tude says, welcome back, Tude. Tude says, sorry to interrupt this late, but what the fuck is Spermageddon? Is it okay for me to swear? I guess it's my stream. We looked it up earlier. It's something John mentioned. Relatively low budget project that is, it sounds like Osmosis Jones road trip movie with sperm. Adult animated comedy. They mentioned it being, kind of similar to South Park style humor, that sort of vibe. And yeah, I was not aware of it until we did the stream and John mentioned it. So here you go, out of Norway. And I don't know, at the very least, I hope that we can access it easily, right? Again, talking about how hard it is to get distribution for the US, or how rare it is, especially for smaller projects, to get official distribution. I hope there's a way to stream it, or just like, hey, pay $10 and you can download a copy. That would be great. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious, and it sounds like a very different sort of adult animated comedy as compared to something like Fixed. So even within that relatively niche category, we have a certain amount of variety. And yeah, I don't know. Total toss-up as far as I'm concerned with Inside Out 2. Yeah, but what else? Yeah, I am excited about that Lord of the Rings project, although that's a long time to wait. The Charlie Kaufman movie with Netflix, yeah, could be great. And DreamWorks, I mean, DreamWorks has impressed me just on this level, just on the level of here's the stuff we're working on right now and getting ready to release. Yeah, DreamWorks has variety. They seem to still be committed to, despite somewhat recent events, they seem to still be committed to doing plenty of original work, or stuff, at the very least, stuff that doesn't have massive, recognizable properties attached to it. Yeah, the Looney Tunes movies are also a toss-up. But yeah, Coyote versus Acme was on the chopping block, I think, for getting released at all. But now I think they've changed course on that. That's good news. Yeah, this Chomei movie I hadn't heard of. Very excited about that now. Wild Robot, yeah, top of the list, absolutely. Gonna be a wild time. John has got to go, but this is actually a second-hand account. My real name is Malcolm. Oh, I know. Don't worry. I just, when the username's there, I just go with username because honestly, it's helpful for the rest of chat too. But yeah, thanks, Malcolm. As always, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And it's always fun talking with somebody who is so knowledgeable about animation stuff too. So anyway, have a great night. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll get ready to wrap up soon anyway. I'm very tired, despite the caffeine, and need to make food and stuff. Tooch says, any idea if Fired on Mars is getting a second season? The first season was great. Yeah, have a good night, Malcolm. I'll see you later. I haven't seen that. Fired on Mars. Let's take a look real quick. Also, happy belated birthday, Tudes. I think you said it was last week, right? Didn't end up streaming last week, but yeah, happy birthday. Hope it was a good one. Fired on Mars. Jeff Cooper has to reinvent himself after being fired from his position in the space startup Mars.ly, Marsly. With no chance to return to Earth, he has to find again. Okay. And this was Max? I do wish I had Max. Is Max might be slightly less than the Netflix tier that I want. Maybe I will get that back eventually. I don't know. Existential workplace comedy set on the Martian campus of a modern tech company. That sounds great. That sounds very fun. Seems like it reviewed relatively well. Luke Wilson is involved. Okay, sure. Cool. Okay. But no, I don't know, obviously, whether it has gotten, whether it has been approved for, as greenlit for a second season. I could see it though. Also, Max I think has a decent track record of continuing to approve streaming series, except for the times where they're like, we're just not going to let you access it anymore, ever, anywhere. So maybe the opposite of what I just said. Anyway. But cool, yeah. If that it's something I would like to check out from last year, of course. But if it does release a second season in 2024, I would totally add that to the list. But yeah, there we have it. This is the list for now. Things that I hope to, well, things I actually hope to check out in 2024, things I'll probably check out anyway out of a sense of obligation, and things I really, really don't want to watch, at least so far. Could change, things could shift. But yeah, it's been helpful for me to get a sense of all this stuff, and I hope it's been sort of kind of entertaining. So yeah. Ugo says, I don't think it'll get a second season. Max didn't push it at all. It does make fun of corporations. Tooch says it has a sci-fi and very mildly surrealist Office Space vibe. Yeah, the fact that it's like an office comedy but in a sci-fi setting that's a neat idea on its own, you know. But yeah, I'll see if there's a way that I can access it and give it a watch. And yeah, honestly, I don't know if has an interest in this stuff, but I do. I would like to get back to just doing some straight up sort of kind of straightforward reviews of stuff on the channel more than anything else. So yeah. Anyway, here's the list. Thank you to everybody who helped out live here in the chat and their recommendations and all that stuff. It's been really wonderful. And otherwise, I think I'm just about ready to finish up. So I hope everyone has a lovely evening. And yeah, thank you to the people here live, especially the folks talking with me live. Thank you to everybody watching the archive version later on. And otherwise, I guess I'll plan to come back next Wednesday. The streaming time might change. Just the day might change coming up based on changing schedule for work stuff, but maybe not. I think Wednesdays will continue to be clear. So if everybody's fine with that, we might just continue to do that. Yeah, thanks, Toots. Have a good night as well. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Cool. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for stopping by.